You're listening to Served Up, a podcast that features inspiring beverage professionals and topic experts that share their passions through meaningful conversations. I'm your host, Bridget Albert, also known as a Market Fresh Mixologist, an industry mentor with decades of experience. Grab a cocktail and sit back. Let's learn how we can make a positive impact in our industry. Hey, y'all, it's Bridget here. Welcome to our Served Up New Orleans series, where the vibrant spirit of hospitality comes alive through the voices shaping the beverage culture. From passionate brand ambassadors and dedicated bartender resource activists to even a world-renowned burlesque dancer, this diverse lineup brings us a unique blend of expertise, creativity, and charisma. These conversations dive deep into the craft, challenges, and culture behind our communities that make hospitality truly unforgettable. Join us as we celebrate the heart and soul of hospitality that never stops inspiring. Hey, y'all, it's Bridget here. Join guest co-host Cindy Haas-Bruce and I for an inspiring conversation with Ingrid Rodriguez, president of the United States Bartenders Guild, as she shares her journey to leading a nation community of hospitality professionals. Ingrid discusses the initiatives and programs shaping the future of bartending and how the Guild empowers its members. Listeners will gain insight into the challenges, triumphs, and vision driving one of the most influential voices of our industry. So sit back, relax, grab yourself your favorite cocktail, and enjoy the show. Ingrid, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You know, you've risen to one of the most influential positions in hospitality. You know, what was your first step behind the bar? And did you ever imagine that it would lead you to here?
Absolutely not. No. I have not been behind the stick in a very long time. I was a bartender very infrequently in New York in the 90s. I always tell everyone, I did not make a craft cocktail. Like it was a 1-in-1 Jack and Coke, maybe. I did not ever even make a Cosmopolitan. But in 2012, I met the USBG in Tampa, and they needed a treasurer. So I joined on board, at the time I was 16 years in construction. And then from that point in time, I call myself the organizer of chaos. And it helped me really join them and figure out how to give them skill sets that didn't exist within the bartending community at that time. And since then, I've, somehow or another, I'm now the national president of the USBG. I think that it shows that there's an opportunity for anyone at any point in time in their life to really find a way back to hospitality. And that was really important to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You know, leadership in hospitality industry can be both like inspiring and super intense. Okay.
Yes.
So what motivates you most in your role and what keeps you grounded?
I think the fact that hospitality touches all ends of humanity is what keeps me grounded, is that hospitality isn't just the bartender. It isn't just the supplier or even the distributor at this point. Like there is the fourth tier, which is the really important tier, which is the consumer. And I spent a lot of times on the other side of the bar and recognizing that at different points of time and different in your life, the story that you tell includes that person on the other side of the bar or the server or whoever's in there. And so to me, it was always important that I call it the first touch and the last touch. And the same thing exists in construction where people remember how you start and how you finish, but everything in between is usually a blur. And that keeps me going. And it keeps me always trying to excel people in the space of like, leave a memory that they're going to have forever, but just remember it could be good or bad and make sure you play that role the right way.
You mentioned like people coming back to it at different parts in their life. So in terms of the USBG, it might mean something to people, like differently to people, depending on where they are in that journey of hospitality. So talk about like what it might mean to someone at the beginning of their career versus someone who's like already deep into it.
So I'll change that question in a little bit of a way. Hospitality always welcomes you. Yeah. So it could be you start your career at 40. It could be you start your career at 60. It could be someone who started at 20, left and came back. The good thing about the hospitality community is that there's always a place for everyone in wherever you want to be. It's just finding it. I've known a ton of consumers that have moved from one side to the other side, whether they started in construction or accounting like I did, and said, hey, you know what? I feel like there's this path that I could take. Let me see what this looks like. And because there is so many facets to being in the hospitality community, and Tales of the Cocktail is a great way to look at what that is, because it touches just about every aspect of it. You can see yourself there. And one of the things that I love to notice are, and I hear this all the time, like COVID, of course, changed a lot of people's lives. And a lot of people, if they didn't go into real estate, they probably went into some aspect, whether that was maybe blogs, podcasts, media, a lot of magazines. A lot of people went, oh my God, this is the time for me to try something different. And the one industry that welcomes everybody is hospitality. The point of entry, I'm not going to say it's very low, but the point of entry is very welcoming. And that's one of the things that I think as we grow as a community, which we are, like COVID hurt us, but we are now accelerating our growth, is really showcasing how if you're lost, you will be found within the community.
I love that too. So, you know, the USBG, it's more than just a professional network, right? It's a voice for the industry, truly. So what are some of the biggest issues facing hospitality today?
So in multifold, hard to really peg down to one because it does come across so many demographical lines. The biggest issue that's probably overriding even for decades within the industry is, can this be a career? What does a career look like? As people get into the industry and you start showcasing podcasts like this, and you have distributor roles, and you have career-based roles, people feel a little bit more comfortable. As we tackle the people who have been behind the bar for 20 years, life balance issues become part of the issue. For instance, the USBG just had a benefit that came out that we partnered with a credit union, and that credit union works specifically with bartenders to teach them how to get a mortgage or how to have a bank account and a savings account. What kind of information do you need for a loan? A lot of that stuff gets lost in the life cycle of someone who's behind the stick. We're trying to show people, hey, you can do what you love. You don't have to go down a path of going to exponential schools. And don't get me wrong, I support college and I support trading schools. But at the same time, there's this experience that you're going to learn from everyone who has been in the industry, who are mentors in the industry, that can teach you where to look, what to do. And the USBG provides, we like to call ourselves the middle of a wheel that we spoke out to everybody. So come to us and tell us what you're looking for, and we will point you in the direction to get you to where you need to go.
Yeah, it's funny you said mentors, because I was thinking, in knowing that we were going to talk to you, like asking about mentorship, just personally for you, like what did that look like for you? Did you have a mentor that helped you, you know, get to where you are now? Do you have, like, how has that mentorship changed?
So it has changed. So my primary mentor for getting to where I am now, it was a Dave Pickerel with Whistle Pig. I met him.
Who is a legend. Yeah. just take a minute. You can't gloss over him.
Hand-plucked out of construction to work for Whistle Pig at the time because he thought I would be good at it. I did not think I would be good at it, but he was like, I think you should do this because you speak a language that a lot of people don't speak. And that was that. The cross section, the code switching that happens between being a consumer, supplier, and part of the distro world. I understood what we were all trying to accomplish. But from there, if I'm allowed to name names, I will. You guys can cut it if you need to. But like, people like Elaine Duff, Lynn House, when you're talking about you have Ruth from Michter's. I forgot her last name right now because I just lost my train of thought. Kyle, who's sitting in this room. There were a lot of people that guided me, and a lot of it has to do with how do we continue to be who we are and really grow and keep our authenticity throughout it. I think mentoring is very important, but I don't think mentoring is what In other industries, it's very clear cut. It's very much like you meet once a week and you have a conversation. I think in this industry, it's more like follow me and show me what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Or follow me and don't do what I do.
Or don't, yes.
Do the opposite.
Don't go to Erin Rose at 2:00 in the morning on Tails. Do not do that. Yes.
Put that frozen Irish down. Okay. So you bring both experience and vision absolutely to life in your role. And so how do you balance honoring both tradition and pushing for inclusion?
So I strongly feel that in order to move forward, you must know from where you came. Especially as a female in the industry, you have to recognize that you stand on the shoulders of others. My favorite book in the world that I just read recently, by the way, is America Walks into a Bar. And there's this idea in America, when you go to bars, that you're like, you don't talk politics or religion or any of that at a bar. And I'm like, are you serious? Like in America, the first thing ever built in any city was the bar or tavern. And that was the center point of the community. And the idea of hospitality is that idea of community. And so I always tell everybody, like, you have to be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations if you want to move forward. And to me, that's authenticity. Hospitality, it's very easy to tell who is unauthentic. I always tell everyone, if you're going to sell a brand, make sure you drink the brand. No comment on
good tip.
Yeah, no comment on who that may be. But it's really this, I don't come from this world in the world that I came from construction. I moved into here. It was a very different world. But if you were to see me between the both, you would understand creating the bridges between those. And there's so many bridges in hospitality. Each leg that you take when you move from bartender to maybe supplier or maybe distro, there's a communication conversation that happens that if you can learn to do that switch and learn to always be the person that where you were when you started, then you will always have people that trust you as you go along. Trust in our industry is probably the most important thing that we have. Hospitality is very much a see or be seen industry. And when you're doing that, you have to be true to who you are, because if you're not, word's going to get out. People are going to know that you're lying. And once they catch that you're not trustworthy, they will not follow you. And I think that I've maintained that for as long as I can. And I mean, I have on paper, whatever, my resume is different, but I think that who I am now is the most true person that I am. And that's why people still follow my lead.
What surprised you the most about coming from construction into the bartender?
That I get reimbursed for my... Nothing. What surprised me the most would be how much support the people behind the bar did not have. I've now been part of this for a long time. It's a different world now, because I'll use COVID again as a breaking point. Pre-COVID, there was a different conversation that people had, both from the distro supplier and there was just difference. Like it was like a turn and burn. There was neighborhood bars. I grew up in a neighborhood bar where I went to weddings and funerals and all that stuff, which beholden me to who they are. Post-COVID, though, because of how much it affected the bartending community, you found out who belonged where they belonged. The people that had really emboldened themselves to their consumer base were the ones who survived, the ones who did not beholden themselves to the consumer base and really understand the need of the community, because the community upheld the people that they wanted to uphold. And I think coming out of COVID, what we're noticing is that a lot of the people who are lifting up the hospitality industry are not directly related. They're adjacent to the community. And if we want to cut this out, that's fine. But Tails is one of those opportunities to showcase that, where you have such a strong consumer base who's really investing. And as a supplier, I will say that they're the ones that'll walk into a bar and be like, I want Whistle Pig. Well, why? I was like, because I love this person. This person is amazing, and I want to help this person. It's happening more now than it did pre-COVID.
That is really interesting. What steps are the USBG taking to support bartenders to see longevity and sustainability as a profession?
Some things I can talk about, some things I can't.
Spill the tea if you can.
What I love about the USBG right now is that the board and our staff are extraordinarily aligned on the future of what we want to be. Under prior staff and management and current staff and management, we have guided the USBG into what we call really our third transition of who we are. In this transition, and Bo Schuff as our executive director, because he comes from a different world, which is more political level. There's an understanding that advocacy is something that we're really strong on now. We are very, very dialed into education. We are dialed into collaborating with other groups and augmenting programs that already exist. So partnering with Discus, partnering with distributors, partnering with Women of the Spirit and the Vine. We now have a partnership with the Napa Valley Wine Academy, and creating opportunities for our bartenders to access that, as opposed to maybe it's a W set, things that seemed very, very far off, putting those in approachable little bites. We also, and it sounds so dumb, it took us 76 years to get to the point where we now have a monthly membership model. So instead of paying a large sum in January, which is probably the hardest month for bartenders to remember to do anything, we're like, it's $12 a month. I actually want to go around on bars and take a picture of the menu and be like, cheaper than an espresso martini. But it's this, how do we make it, because the bartenders is the core constituency of who we are. We are here for bartenders. We are created for bartenders. Everybody else around that are the adjacent to bartenders. They're they want to access the bartenders. So what do we, if we give the bartenders what they need to become work-life balance as we look at it, then everyone else starts drilling down into that. The most fun one we have coming up is we just recently had a partnership with Virgin Cruises, and now we're going to do a USBG Virgin Cruise, and everybody is stoked.
I want to go on
that. The partnership with the Federal Credit Union. Over the next few months, we will be rolling out additional partnerships. And all of those partnerships are really meant to give access to our bartending community to stand behind something that they believe in. We stayed away from advocacy for a very long time because the one thing about the USBG is that we welcome everyone. Because we have that enthusiast category, it does not stop anyone from joining in and who we are. So we knew that if we were going to go down that advocacy route, that we would be planting flags, and we had to be comfortable with planting that flag. We have a tremendously good structure where the board of directors stands behind any statements that we make or anything that we do. I am now allowed to talk back on social media, which is one of my favorite things to do. But it's putting the power back into the hands of the bartender to give them a voice that maybe they can't have at their bar, but they can have more on a global scale. We've never really pointed out the fact that we are the U.S. delegate team to the World Cocktail Competition, and we are now doubling down on that, like join Team USA, because how cool is that? And we're excited about it. We're really excited about the future that we have here. I'm excited to be part of this team. I've been on the board now for 9 years in different capacities, and I'm glad to finally be seeing all the hard work that was done in the background getting us to where we think we should be going.
What is your hope for like the next generation of bartenders? If you're like, wow, if we could make this thing better or something different, like what is that hope that you have, knowing that the USBG is so focused on supporting this group? Like, what would that be? I
hope that they no longer get the question of why, like, oh, you're just a bartender. What are you doing next? Yeah. It is my hope that people recognize that this is a career. This is a lifetime. Even if it's not necessarily just behind the bar, like you have so many avenues to you. Everyone that I know that used to be a bartender that's not behind the bar anymore absolutely respects the person behind it. But I don't want someone who's maybe in college and working in a bar on the weekends to make money to have someone say to them, well, what are you going to school for? Like, why are you doing this? I want them to be like, I love doing this and I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, when we talked to Bo earlier, he talked about the transferable skills and how he, like, even before he was in this industry, loved hiring folks out of the hospitality industry. And it was really inspiring to hear him talk.
True story. Before I moved into construction, I worked for a high-end flower brand in New York, and she only hired people that came out of hospitality.
Really?
She's like, if you can spend 6 months in New York over Christmas in hospitality, you can talk to anybody. Yeah. And there's some truth to that. Going back to what I was saying about code switching, if you can handle people when the pressure is so strong, because you don't know what that other person, the energy that they're bringing to you, and if you can calm them down and walk them through the pace to get them where they go, where they leave with a good experience, then you have managed a situation that people who have gone through a million different corporate trainings will never learn because they've never had it one-on-one. And that's probably another reason why I really came back to the industry.
I do believe that, that's something you can't teach.
No.
That is something you cannot teach. You can teach anybody to make a cocktail. Let's be real. It's not that hard to do.
COVID proved that.
Yes, COVID proved that. But we can't teach people to be hospitable, to be kind, and to be authentic.
Correct.
Right?
There's a reason that everyone during COVID, obviously, excuse my language, we were all alcoholics, but the retail market took off.
Right.
There's a reason that the retail market had a sharp cutoff when we all started coming back from COVID, in that socialization is so important to who we are as humans that people were willing to relinquish the cost savings of buying at retail to have the time and the ability to talk to someone and to have someone listen to them. And a bartender is a great listener. They may not actually be listening to you, but they are.
They make you feel like they are.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
They're very welcoming.
Yeah,
and that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Ingrid, what do you hope your legacy to be?
I hope my legacy isn't as big as the next person. I hope that I'm remembered for someone who managed the change and was able to see people through something that could have been very difficult. We've gone through a major transition in the hospitality community. This is also probably the foremost time, besides maybe Cocktail the movie, that we are at the pinnacle of really changing people's lives, and not just hospitality professionals. Like, what we do, people go out to enjoy a moment, and what we're doing is really influencing those moments, so that I hope years from now, I'm remembered as the person that, first of all, steadied the ship, but secondly, helped grow a community and give them a place to feel like they're at home. I think that everybody wants to belong to something. And then whoever comes after me, I hope they continue that legacy. And I will point it out again, like, I'm only continuing the legacy of Kyle, and I'm only continuing the legacy of Pam and David and all these people who came before me. They were great in the time that they served, and I'm great in the time that I serve. And then whoever serves after me, I hope that they fulfill the obligation that they've been given.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What are all the ways that, like you talked about enthusiasts, what are the ways that different parts of the industry can get involved in the USBG and support the bartenders?
USBG.org. Did I knock it off? USBG. Honestly, go talk to a bartender. Yeah. USBG.org, sign up. Find out where the meetings are. Meetings are all across the United States, whether that is an actual established chapter. We have affiliated communities that are popping up all over the place. Come to events like Tales or BCB or any of these big events and literally just talk to someone. And even if you become a member, maybe your local neighborhood bartender is not, introduce them to that and start creating this community that exists within yourselves. I always say it's really difficult to ask people to do an entire program, but it's really easy to ask somebody to sit at the door and check IDs. So maybe it's somebody who doesn't have a lot of time, but they can do 5 minutes to send an email blast or to say thank you. Give people small nuggets that are attainable, as opposed to expecting people to do everything at once. And you'll capture their desire to be included. And that desire to be included is what really grows hospitality in general.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Ingrid, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. You are truly someone to be admired. I admire all the good work that you're doing, and I want to thank you for the good work that you're doing for our community.
Thank you.
It's important. It's really important that you are part of the growth, and you are really going out there and making the changes in all the right ways. So thank you for doing that. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to wish you just some great health and a lot of peace.
Thank you
for coming on the show.
It's Tales. Great health is important.
It is.
No, I appreciate it, ladies. Thank you. So much.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Killed the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of our future Served Up episodes. Cheers.